does that, she does that. Check, check. He loves her, she loves him. Check, check. His mama like her, his mama. Check, check. You check all the boxes, right?
I was watching your show. God bless you, and I really love you.
Well, thank you. This is a courtroom that takes family very seriously. Children.
You started the whole thing. If it wasn't for you cheating, if it wasn't for you talking to different people, we wouldn't even be here right now. None of this stuff would even happen.
I see the tears in your eyes. What are you feeling right now?
Because he lied. No, he lied. Why would you lie on me for no reason?
In a courtroom charged with tension, the battle of Allen versus Diaz unfolds. Mr. Allen denies any link to Miss Diaz's child, while she holds steadfast that he is the father. Is it Mr. Allen's evil scheme, or is he telling the truth? Amidst claims of fuzzy memories and impossibilities, a web of relationships comes to light.
I was in Tennessee and she was in Indiana, and at that time she was in a relationship with another guy and I was in a relationship with another female.
That's a lie. We had Easter together at my house. That's a lie.
And you believe that's the window of time when you conceived?
Yeah.
Amidst strained emotions, Mr. Allen reveals a fragmented past with Miss Diaz. He recalls their final encounter before Easter, a bitter split demanding her departure. Living apart in different states, he received a startling text. "I'm pregnant," she said. Skepticism clashed with her assertion, setting the stage for their dispute.
How many people did you sleep with during the breakup?
During the breakup, I was already pregnant with Jordan.
She was sleeping with 2 other guys at the time, Your Honor.
How did you find that out?
Right, my friends don't talk to you.
Multiple best friends of hers told me that she was with at least 2 guys, and that's 2 that I know of. And she texted me actually herself about this one guy she was hooking up with.
Amidst perplexing revelations, Mr. Allen questions the timeline and authenticity of Miss Diaz's claims. He points to incongruities in the conception dates and contests the evidence she presents. A candid confrontation with another man emerges as he asserts her willingness to return despite her involvement with someone else.
Did you ever tell any other guy you were pregnant?
No, I don't talk to anybody.
But yet it took her 4 months to text me and say that I was absolutely the father. So if she knew I was the father, why would she wait that long?
Because that's a lie. I found out 4 months pregnant and I have the pictures to prove it.
A humorous exchange unfolds as Miss Diaz firmly asserts that Mr. Allen was with her during the conception period. Their Easter plans and the menu serve as the backdrop to her confidence in the timeline. The puzzle of dates is brought into sharper focus as Mr. Allen presents a witness to challenge the narrative.
Matthew was with me during the time of conception because, like he said, we were dating 2 other females. They invited us to have Easter dinner with their family. We said we declined, of course. We went with my family.
Because he was with you?
He was with me.
And how can you be so certain that was Easter?
Because you don't have Easter dinner any other day.
He doesn't know the child at all and has no connection with him. How evil is this man? Mr. Allen's heartfelt confession reveals his inner struggle, a mix of love and uncertainty. He opens up about his relationship with the child, highlighting the emotional weight of not having certainty about his paternity.
I can still give him love. I still have love for him, you know, and I mean, like I said, I treat him like my own. I mean, he calls me dad. He notices me when I come in, I mean, obviously. But I mean, it's the fact of not knowing is what, you know, keeps me from taking that last step into, you know, being a father for him.
The courtroom erupts in applause, and a mix of emotions washes over Mr. Allen's face. Judge Lake playfully lightens the atmosphere with a joke before congratulating him. The significance of this revelation, breaking a generational cycle, is deeply felt. Mr. Allen's determination to be a loving father shines through.
Mr. Allen, you are the father. That is your handsome little boy. He definitely got more of your cousin's genes. But he's yours. I'm just kidding. Congratulations, Mr. Allen.
Dig into wild moments on paternity court as Miss Reeves seeks to prove Mr. Silva's paternity of her son, Legend. An unexpected twist arises when Mr. Silva, with a past love and hip-hop Atlanta paternity drama, doubts about fatherhood. Emotions run high as Miss Reeves reveals how this affects their relationship. Judge Lake presides over this engaging paternity dispute.
Every single time I turn around, it's always, oh, are you sure that he's my baby? Why do you keep asking me? And don't get me wrong, he's a good guy, but I just want us to be able to move forward in our relationship without having any more arguments. And so I feel like the best way for us to be able to do this is for us to go ahead and get a DNA test, make sure that Legend is the biological son for him.
Judge Lake demands answers in this wild moment on paternity court. Miss Reeves faces the challenge of proving Mr. Silva's paternity of her son, Legend, amidst their turbulent relationship. With suspicions of cheating, the truth emerges as they navigate the real facts behind their breakup and pregnancy. Emotions run high as they confront their past and seek resolution.
It's just really the fact that she came home, she came telling me that I'm the father of Legend, you know, and I just, honestly, I don't believe that.
All right, when do you find out you're pregnant, Miss Reeves?
Well, we was broken up at the time, but immediately, as soon as I told him that I was pregnant, he was like, okay, with who?
The tension escalates in paternity court as Mr. Silva shares shocking revelations about Miss Reeves' suspicious behavior and secretive phone activities. Their relationship is put to the test when accusations of cheating and multiple women texting him surface. Miss Reeves stands her ground, demanding answers from Mr. Silva, leading to a dramatic confrontation about their complex situation.
But my whole thing is like, why do you keep asking me what I have to hide when every single time I turn around, it's another female texting my phone like, oh, I was just dating I was just dating your boyfriend. Your boyfriend is my boyfriend. That's our boyfriend. Like, what you mean?
Wait, what? Our boyfriend?
Tensions rise as Judge Lake questions Mr. Silva's involvement during Miss Reeves' pregnancy. Despite his doubts about being the father, he chose to be there during the birth. However, his suspicions remain, and he insists on a DNA test. Mr. Silva opens up about feeling pressured to sign the birth certificate, sparking a heated discussion about their roles as parents.
As soon as Legend was born, the doctor came in the room, straight to me and gave me the paper. I didn't want to make her look bad, so
So you signed the birth certificate.
Yes.
So you felt like in that moment, her whole family is around.
Yes.
And if you start talking about DNA tests, it sheds a negative light on her.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Reeves presents damning evidence to confront Mr. Silva about his involvement with another girl. Despite his feeble denial, Judge Lake sees right through his lies, calling out his smirk as a sign of deception. As the truth unfolds, the tension rises, and Mr. Silva finally admits to telling Miss Reeves about her pregnancy.
Your Honor, I told her that she was pregnant, and I told her that she wasn't pregnant by me. The whole thing, I just said that out of, just being grimy.
You started the whole thing. If it wasn't for you cheating, if it wasn't for you talking to different people, we wouldn't even be here right now. None of this stuff would even happen.
In a gripping continuation of the paternity court saga, Mr. Silva's strong desire to be the child's father clashes with lingering doubts. As emotions escalate, Kermit, Miss Reeves' new love, stands by her side, proclaiming his unwavering commitment. The stakes are high, and the truth is about to be revealed in this riveting paternity dispute.
It hurts me like you've been around here for a long time, you know what I mean? And so now, if he's not yours, all of a sudden you don't want nothing to do with me at all? You don't want nothing to do with him?
How you gonna make me take care of somebody else? Your Honor, I love Jennifer.
So with or without Legend, we should still be together. It shouldn't be no kick rocks.
Nah, you kicking rocks.
The truth about Legend Silva's father has finally come to light. The anticipation builds as Judge Lake announces the life-changing revelation. Mr. Silva's emotions erupt, and Jennifer's tears of relief mix with the audience's cheers. The heartfelt confession brings closure to their tumultuous journey, leaving them with hope for a brighter future together.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Silva, you are the father. You are the father.
That's all I needed to know, Your Honor.
A poignant scene unfolds as Miss Jackson implores her childhood sweetheart to step up for their daughter with cerebral palsy. With tears in her eyes, she describes his absence. Mr. Brendan's doubt adds tension. The courtroom hangs on every word, trying to figure out if Mr. Brennan genuinely has a reason to back off, or if he's just an evil man.
What is he doing currently for Micaiah?
Zero. Nothing.
It hurts a lot, actually, knowing that somebody so beautiful that took after both of us, that was made from both of us when me and him were thick as thieves. And
everything just got torn apart because somebody didn't want to be a father.
Amid emotional testimony, the story unfolds of a high school romance that once held promises of togetherness. The audience listens intently as Miss Jackson recalls the bond with Mr. Brennan during her pregnancy, highlighting his support and presence during crucial moments. Her narrative tugs at heartstrings, setting the stage for a crucial revelation.
Before I had got pregnant, I was with one of my exes when me and him were on a break. After that, we got back together and we were super close, inseparable when I lived with him at his mother's house.
She disappeared for 3 weeks, Your Honor, and then she comes back a week later and she's pregnant.
As tension mounts, the court uncovers a pivotal moment where the trust between the parents started to unravel. Miss Jackson provides a heartfelt account of the circumstances surrounding the birth certificate and Mr. Brennan's involvement. The exchange between them paints a vivid picture of doubt and skepticism, laying the groundwork for the courtroom's compelling narrative.
Why wasn't he allowed to sign or be on the birth certificate?
He did, Your Honor. I had the whole packet and he had permission to sign anything because I was under the influence of the drugs at the time.
And so
I never seen it. I still ain't seen the birth certificate.
I texted his mom and said, do you want to see little Precious for Halloween? Nope, it wasn't her grandkid. And I got evidence right here.
Emotions run high as Miss Jackson expresses her frustration and sadness, yearning for clarity and resolution. The courtroom atmosphere is charged with tension, highlighting the deep impact of uncertainty on the lives of those involved. The poignant exchange between Miss Jackson and Mr. Brennan reveals their shared frustration and the desire for a swift resolution to the paternity question.
It's always been Johnny since day one.
Why would he say that?
Why would he say that?
Johnny knows this. I was super close to him.
So why are you believing him over us?
It was him and nobody else.
That's what I want to know.
Because
So you don't want to see your granddaughter because of what someone else said?
Oh, I'm going to see her, believe that.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to your mother.
Believe
you want to meddle in any other time?
The courtroom atmosphere is tense as Mr. Brennan's unwavering conviction of his paternity is met with Miss Jackson's complex emotions. He confidently asserts his willingness to embrace fatherhood if proven, while Miss Jackson expresses both her daughter's conviction and her guarded sentiments. The conflicting emotions and uncertainty surrounding this pivotal moment create a dramatic and compelling exchange.
So
he's the dad. I know he is.
Oh, so
I'm going on what
so
my
you just
daughter
running your
said.
mouth?
I'm just running my mouth.
You should be quiet when it's against your daughter's benefit. You know when to be quiet. Because your daughter says she knows for sure, then you come up talking about, well, I hope he ain't.
In a gripping moment, the court reaches a crucial decision regarding the paternity of 5-year-old Makia Jackson. Emotions run high as the truth hangs in the balance, impacting the lives of all involved. The weight of uncertainty lingers as the courtroom holds its breath, awaiting the outcome.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brennan, you are the father.
Thank God. And I thought that when your friend comes to you and tells you that she says you're not, I mean, you can only wonder. And then when you ask her and she blocks you,
ripping her off. Is this case about an evil man who exploited a woman? Or is he the real victim? Mother of her 7-month-old son, Taquan. He denies paternity and has cut off all contact.
He told my daughter that he was single, that he was not in a relationship. I know he was in a relationship with her because I seen his picture on her phone. When she started being with him, I seen how her attitude changed.
Who did I sleep with,
knew
you or
then
her?
that she was pregnant.
Who did I sleep with, you or her?
I met you at a relative house.
Miss Cousins explains that she believed Mr. Bell when he claimed he wasn't with anyone else and was attentive to her needs, even paying his phone bills and buying him lunch. Miss Cousin wants Cortez to take responsibility and care for their son, as she and her husband have been doing for the past 7 months.
Destiny was on a good route. Once she graduated, Job Coach gave her a job. Once she got that job, she fell into the footsteps of him. He used her to the fullest, and today I'm walking in her shoes because I've been taking care of Taquan. I've been doing it all, not him, nobody else but me and my husband.
Mr. Bell initially claimed that his encounter with Destiny was a one-time thing, but Judge Lake questions him further. Destiny reveals that they had an ongoing relationship, which contradicts Mr. Bell's denial. Sharonica, Miss Cousin's mother, explains that Mr. Bell took advantage of Destiny's vulnerability. The emotional tension rises as the truth is revealed.
I see the tears in your eyes. What are you feeling right now?
Because he lied. No, he lied. Why would you lie on me for no reason?
Because he felt that he could take control of you, because he knew that you was the one that was not gonna say nothing and was gonna be silent. But as of today, God is my witness. I'm speaking.
Sharonica urges for the situation to be resolved. She emphasizes Destiny's aspirations for a positive future, including attending college. Cortez becomes defensive, interrupting the conversation, but Judge Lake intervenes to restore order. The question is posed to Mr. Bell about his involvement in Destiny's pregnancy, to which he responds negatively.
Do you participate in the process of the not at all?
Oh, she with another dude doing her pregnant.
No, I was
what
not.
Dude under 25 gonna be with somebody else? A pregnant
Well, you
woman
was
that
lying. You a
ain't his baby.
composed liar.
What-
I
what is
wasn't with
composed to?
nobody. I
She didn't
wasn't
start
with
talking to
nobody.
until
Thank
after
you,
this baby was born.
baby.
Destiny confirms that Cortez would often leave after spending time with her, and she believed he wasn't in a relationship when they initially met. She mentions that Cortez has seen Taquan only once and recounts an incident when he asked for sex during that visit. Cortez's sudden interjection about where Destiny lives adds an air of suspense to the situation.
And we're talking about his baby mama.
Where you stay at?
Exactly. You know we stay
you
on
know
Palm
where we
Valley.
stay at.
I let you in the house.
They be in a
I let
different,
you
they
in the
be in a
house.
different house.
Let me tell you where he
Y'all
told me
stay.
to
Where y'all stay?
Hold on. Hold on. Mr. Bell, I'm getting tired of your side talking. Every time they go to testify, you talking over them, and the only thing it looks like to me is that you don't want me to hear what they're saying because they're telling the truth.
In an unexpected turn, Destiny recounts Cortez's proposition for sex, dismissing her boyfriend's involvement. Cortez's flat tire encounter led to a Taquan visit, where he commented on the child's resemblance. Destiny sought financial help, but Cortez blocked her. His denial of ever seeing Taquan creates further uncertainty.
Mr. Bell, does this look familiar? This picture?
No.
Oh, you just lying. You is a liar.
What you
It's all
crying?
right.
I don't care nothing about your crime.
We're gonna get the truth. The truth says set you free.
So, Destiny, you're upset now because you're just saying he's just lying.
You just
Yes.
lie. Why would you just lie?
In a pivotal moment, the court concludes Taquan's paternity, evoking a mix of emotions from those involved. Sharonica and Destiny display relief and gratitude, while Cortez's demeanor hints at his reaction to the decision.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Bell, you are the father.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. Oh yes. Oh yes.
I took the baby. She came with me. She waited out there on the porch. And I had the baby. I said, Mom, who does baby look like? And my mom said, who baby is that? I said, who the baby look like? She said, oh, she don't look like you.
Mr. Woods, you are not the father.
Miss Boyd and Mr. Henderson appear in court to resolve the issue of Regina Boyd's paternity, which her mother says has ruined Regina's childhood. Miss Boyd wants the court to order a paternity test so they can figure out if Mr. Henderson's persuasion of her all those years ago resulted in her pregnancy.
You are here asking this court to order a paternity test to prove that Mr. Henderson is Regina's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Henderson, you say there is no need for a DNA test because it is impossible that you are Regina's dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Big Mama testified that she belonged to a very strict family who acted as church pastors. Still, she and Mr. Henderson would pass by her house and flirt with her whenever possible. When she began going out with other men later on, he told her about his interests too, and they actually met up at his house.
Like for 2 years, tried to get at me, and my mother and them ran a tight ship because they was pastors of a church. Basically that, I couldn't really get out often to see him. So, like he'll pass by my house or make noise or yell to something, and then I'll notice that, look out the window and notice that it's him and stuff like that, Your Honor.
The odd part was that the plaintiff had no idea where the deed went down. However, it all happened so fast that when she got pregnant, she didn't even think it could be Mr. Henderson's baby. And the plot thickens.
Oh, I guess I don't know whose room it was, but we did it, and Your Honor, it happened so fast, I didn't even think it could have been his baby.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Now, you told the truth right there.
But hold on, Mr. Henderson, didn't nobody say it gotta be long
Okay.
or good.
Okay.
You can still make a baby.
When Regina was 2 months old, Mr. Henderson asked Miss Boyd to let him take Regina to his mother's house. She said Mr. Henderson exclaimed that's his baby. The baby's assumed father was unsupportive.
Lee, saying you were also being intimate with somebody else at that time.
Exactly.
Were you using protection with that person?
No.
When you got pregnant, did you tell that other man that he could be the biological father of your daughter?
That's why I thought he was the father. And he the one confronted me.
You say Mr. Henderson confronted you?
Exactly.
Regina's growing up without a father gave her a lot of emotional damage. When asked about her assumed biological father, she says she doesn't have any relationship with him, and the constant rejection has made her very tired. She says seeking her siblings spend time with their fathers while she's home alone messes with her.
Throughout Regina's childhood, who did you tell her her biological father was?
Well, it was another dude I used to mess around with. It was the other man that I thought was her father.
Okay, so you told her that man was her biological
Right.
father. Did you ever get a paternity test with that man?
Nope.
And so you grew up telling Regina this is your biological father?
Yes.
The young plaintiff further discussed her encountering Mr. Henderson when he contacted her on Facebook. She said she didn't know who he was, but he said he was her father. She was very surprised by this, but agreed to meet up with him, and they exchanged numbers. After the meetup, she was confused to see there were no calls or texts from him.
Well, the year 2011, Mr. Henderson contacted me on Facebook saying, I'm your daddy. And then I'm like, is he trying to talk to me? Because he had his cat daddy blue suit on. And I'm like, then he went on and said, I used to date your mom. I'm like, oh, okay.
Mr. Henderson says he didn't think he could be her actual father and was only joking about the possibility. Judge Lauren busts up at him, saying how could he think to joke about something like that with a hopeful young woman? He says he thought she already had a father. Well, looks like only the DNA test can bring the truth out now.
Mr. Henderson, you are her father. You are her father.
Mr. Woods and Miss James are in the courtroom because Mr. Woods thought their daughter Addison was biologically his. Miss James says she is not. He has also signed her birth certificate and wishes to resolve the issue regarding paternity because he loves Addison and wishes for confirmation that she is his child.
The time Addison was conceived, me and Aubrey slept together. Deep down in my heart, I feel like she's my daughter. I mean, if she's not, it's gonna break my heart. I mean, I've been through everything. I love this girl to death. Like, for the past year, I've been there.
And you are certain that you slept with Ms. James during the window of conception. And I can see from this video in the monitor that she means the world to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss James says it hurts her to see this situation because she can see Mr. Woods is a great father to her daughter, but she is sure he is not the biological father. Mr. Woods says they met at a party where she was sad about her ex's behavior. He consoled her, and they ended up sleeping together thrice.
Because I know Cody is a good dad to Addison, but I'm here today to tell them that he is not the father, and I did tell him this.
So it even hurts you because you know the bond they have established. You know how much Mr. Woods loves Addison.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you can see she loves him.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you're saying you have to come here to tell the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
The whole sleeping around started taking a toll on baby mama because she'd allegedly cheated on her boyfriend. However, she soon fell pregnant and called him to say that he was the father. He felt very happy about the news.
She felt bad because she cheated on her boyfriend at the time, so we didn't talk about it. And then 2 months later, I was at work, and that's when she called me and said that she was pregnant, and I was the father.
Wow. Did you use protection?
No.
So when you found out you were pregnant, you immediately called Mr. Woods.
Yes, but I told him that he was not the father, that it could be somebody else.
Baby mama also told her boyfriend about the pregnancy and told her he might be the father. He didn't want anything to do with her after that. She told Mr. Woods, who accompanied her to doctor's appointments, took care of her when she was sick, and took care of Addison for the first year of her life.
So Mr. Woods, you were there throughout the pregnancy?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you also tell your boyfriend that you were pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you allowed Mr. Woods to go to all the doctor's appointments?
Yes, because he did not want anything to do when I told him that I was pregnant, and it possibly could be his daughter.
The other guy?
Yes, Your Honor.
He didn't want anything to do with the baby?
No, yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Woods was a wonderful father to Addison, but the defendant doesn't want him to be burdened with child support, which is why she will also be getting his name removed from Addison's birth certificate and changing her last name if he is truly not the father. So, what's it gonna be for the little baby girl?
Mr. Woods, you are not the father. Him and for you and for Addison.
Miss Adams was caught in a love triangle that resulted in the birth of her twins. She had just come out of a 13-year relationship with her ex when she met Mr. Spencer, and they began a fling. Soon after, she found herself pregnant with twins.
I got caught up in a love triangle because I was with the same man for 13 years. I had separated. When we separated, I was kind of going through my vulnerable stage and things like that. I had went out actually one day, to the bar, and that's when I had met Marquis. We started, having dealings with each other and things like that.
Miss Adams met Mr. Spencer 2 months after she broke up with her ex, and they began a sexual relationship. She found out she was pregnant when Mr. Spencer was away and asked a family member to contact him. Both parties agreed on the fact that they did not use protection during their sexual encounters.
Were you and Mr. Spencer in a committed relationship?
No.
You met Ms. Adams, you all started having a sexual relationship, you didn't use protection?
Yes, sir.
But
yes,
you
Sean.
weren't in a committed relationship?
No, we weren't.
Did you know whether or not at that time she was also intimate with anybody else?
No, I didn't.
Were you intimate with anybody else during that time?
No, I was not.
Mr. Spencer spoke to Miss Adams about it, and she confirmed the pregnancy, and there was no doubt about the paternity of the twins. However, when the twins were born, the pictures got posted to Facebook, which the ex's mother saw. She said the twins look exactly like her son, which is where the paternity issues began.
We talked about like her pregnancy, how she got pregnant, how this was possible, how it happened.
And she ever tell you there was another possibility? There was someone else who could be the biological father of the twins?
No, Your Honor, she never told me that.
So you're thinking to yourself, I'm about to be a dad?
Yes, Your Honor.
Baby mama told the court that her ex's family said she'd had the babies early and they looked like her ex, which means she would have already been pregnant when she met Mr. Spencer. Miss Adams says she was still in love with her ex and used it as an opportunity to get back with him by claiming that the babies were indeed his.
She was just telling me, oh, Christian, put 2 and 2 together, just think about it. It don't make sense. You already had the babies early, so you could have been already pregnant when you was messing with Mr. Spencer. She was just, saying things like that and stuff. So then I started saying, well, you know what, you never know. And I was also just going off of emotion and knowing I was still in love with my ex.
Mr. Spencer says he first felt suspicious when Miss Adams began sounding distant in her communications to him during her pregnancy while he was away. He says Miss Adams later told him that they did a DNA test and her ex is the father. He still stuck around for the first month after the births.
Either you back messing with Mitchell or is something going on because you having an attitude more, like you ain't really keeping me up to date with these kids, and like it was like, yeah, like I kind of knew this the change, so I kind of knew it was like somebody else in the picture. Like it was then they told me like, well, we did a DNA test already, Mitchell the father. This is what they told me.
Really?
Miss Adams' ex's mother, Miss Jernigan, says she felt something wasn't right when she saw the Facebook pictures because she said the pregnancy was too soon after her son's breakup. She says she was often tagged as the baby's grandmother in the photos because she would visit Miss Adams and spend time with the babies.
So she sent me the pictures, so I'm like, oh my God. So I went looking for some of Mitchell's baby pictures, and I started sending them through the family, and the family's like, oh my God, these Mitchell's babies. So as I talked to Kristen, are you sure? We just left here at the end of December. You said you met Marquis in February.
Mr. Spencer and Miss Adams' ex ended up meeting, and they both questioned who the real father is. Her ex was willing to take on full responsibility for these kids, as was Mr. Spencer. However, there's a lot of confusion around. So, can the DNA test results finally reveal the truth?
The biological father is Mr. Spencer. The next result is for Kamarian. The biological father is Mr. Spencer.
Miss Kayla Beversdorf opened this case against Mrs. James for allegedly not accepting that Kayla's son, Dakari, is Mrs. James's grandson. She says the lack of acknowledgement from his grandma is affecting her son Dakari's life.
You have opened your case against Mrs. James to prove that her deceased son Daryl is the biological father of your 4-year-old son Dakari. You say that once you prove paternity, Mrs. James better accept you both or she will never see Dakari again.
Kayla wished to be a family, and that cannot happen until their son's paternity is denied. Mrs. James says her behavior was what brought doubt upon Dakari's paternity. When her son and Kayla were dating, they would always be patching up and breaking up. She also disappeared for a few days in between.
I want him to, just feel like that's all family. Everybody's family, not just my side, not just their side. I want it to be genuine. And I just know once I get these test results, it will be genuine. And everybody will really know the truth. I want him to know and to really have proof that that is his father. I'd never want him to doubt that. And I know.
We would not have to have proof if we would not have the doubts.
Baby mama and Mrs. James's son were dating for 4.5 years, while Mrs. James says that isn't true. She says her son introduced Kayla to them, they had a fight, and she left the house for 2 weeks, and she soon came back pregnant. Kayla says she was staying at her sister's house.
When my son came to your house, she came outside to talk to him, but she wouldn't let him in the house, and she made him leave. That was my...
Do you remember that incident, Miss Beaversdorf?
I know who my baby dad is. I know, and I'm just so ready to prove it.
How long were you together, you and Mr. Stevenson?
4.5 years.
I don't know nothing about 4.5 years, Your Honor.
Mrs. James told the court that her deceased son told her he was going to stick by that child until he was sure of paternity. He was present for the birth, but left at the time of the signing of the birth certificate. Late baby daddy was hesitant to sign it later on due to the doubts surrounding Dakari's paternity.
He says, Mom, until I find out it's not mine, that is what I'm going to stick by her.
But if you don't know that that's your child, why are you in the hospital? Why does he have your last
because
name?
He loves
Why do you put the umbilical cord? Why do all that if that's not your child?
Did he sign the birth certificate?
No, because when the nurse came in, he was at home taking a shower, getting clothes.
The defendant's entire problem begins with the fact that the young mommy refused to do a DNA test 3 times. Mrs. James even made appointments which Kayla refused to show up for. She said she needed a DNA test for confirmation because they couldn't access her son's social security until they had the DNA test results.
Well, the simple fact of now I have tried to get DNA 3 times.
She never tried 3 times.
Yes, I have, Your Honor. You know why she don't know about 3 times?
She never tried to get no DNA
because she never shows up.
She never met me nowhere. We never even had that as
I didn't have to meet you nowhere.
She never
I told
called,
you where the place was.
Mrs. James says she started this process because she recently took her grandson home with permission from Kayla. But when she extended the stay, Kayla called the police on her. She asks Kayla if she's so sure of the paternity, why did she wait over 4 years to prove it?
Once you took the baby to visit when your brother passed away, after all of the issue of bring him back and you said the police was called, you felt like if this is gonna be my grandbaby, I need to have something that shows this is my son's child.
Yeah.
So it's not like I just went and got somebody's baby.
Kayla and Mrs. James then reveal that Kayla actually lives in Mrs. James's house with Dakari. Mrs. James says she will do whatever she can for her grandson because of his circumstances. In fact, she might even fight a legal battle for him if it comes down to that. So, can the DNA test results solve this issue?
Percentage of relatedness between Mrs. Jacqueline James and Dakari is 99%. You are related. Now, Mr. Reed, you were perfectly fine when she was one of many. Now you got a problem because you was one of many.
No, I don't have a
You're accusing him of not being there, and yet you are blocking him from being there at the most important moment. I don't understand.
Because the nurses was talking to me.
I don't know if she testifying right now or testifying, but we'll see in a minute.
Sometimes it's the simplest of paternity cases that spiral completely out of control. Mr. Taylor and Miss Orr had an electrifying romance, but unfortunately it came to an end after 2 weeks. But then Miss Orr showed up with a positive pregnancy test, and since then, it's been a downhill journey.
I have tried to get a DNA test from the moment I found out about Eric, and she has denied it, dodged it every which way she can.
Ms. Orr, are you trying to avoid the DNA test for Eric?
No, Your Honor. I believe that Michael, if he wants a DNA test, he needs to get it done, not me. It's not my job.
Surprisingly, this isn't the first time that Ms. Orr has trapped Mr. Taylor into taking a DNA test. It seems that she's the one who's creating problems. because whenever Mr. Taylor asked for one, she would always end up fighting him. She thought that because baby Eric looked just like Mr. Taylor, there was no need for a test.
And how many times did you have sex within that 2-week span?
I had sex with her for like that week, and I had sex with her a couple more times the next week.
Was Mr. Taylor the only man you were intimate with, Miss Orr?
There's other men, but at the time, Mr. Taylor was the only one that I slept with when I was off my birth control.
Judge Lauren asks them what happened when Ms. Orr found out she was pregnant. Ms. Orr says that she went to Mr. Taylor and confided in him. But according to Mr. Taylor, she's lying. And they were never in contact during the time of pregnancy.
I found out the baby was born a week after.
Oh, a week after the baby was born.
Right.
So wait a minute, Ms. Orr, now you're certain Mr. Taylor is your child's biological father. You go into labor and you don't even give him a call. You give him,
exactly.
You reach out on Facebook to say, I'm pregnant with your baby. You don't reach out on Facebook to say, I'm having your baby.
It's really shocking that Ms. Orr forgot to mention to Mr. Taylor that she was carrying his potential baby. In fact, she had 9 months to do so. But she only revealed it to him when she went into labor. What's her excuse? That everything was happening too fast?
You're accusing him of not being there, and yet you are blocking him from being there at the most important moment. I don't understand.
Because the nurses was talking to me at the time. I couldn't really talk to my family members.
The nurses were talking to you for a week straight?
Telling me everything, pretty much.
I don't know if she testifying right now or testifying, but we'll see in a minute.
Even Judge Lauren points out that while Ms. Orr keeps accusing Mr. Taylor of not being with her during the pregnancy, she was the one who kept stopping him from contacting her. So who's to blame here? Now the question is, does Mr. Taylor want to be a part of his baby's life?
If you are the biological father, you intend to be a part of baby Eric's life?
I've been here since I found out about him. I don't think any child deserves to grow up without a dad. For the fact that she did not tell me until Eric was a week old, I am unbelievably shocked. I do not know why.
Things start getting really messy when Mr. Taylor claims that Ms. Orr would harass him to not put up pictures of Eric on Facebook. Yet at the same time, she would complain that he's not being an active part of the boy's life. What exactly did this woman want?
Why do you send him a collage of pictures with the baby and another man?
To let him know Eric does not look like another man.
Your Honor, she has went as far as saying the child had a crooked penis, and I have a crooked penis. She asked me if I had one. I said yes. She said, so how can you deny that this is your son?
Is there any reason behind why Ms. Orr keeps running away from DNA tests? Is she hiding something? Mr. Taylor's pretty sure she slept with at least 3 more men during the conception window. Will today's results give these two the answers they want?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Taylor, you are not the father. Calm down, Mr. Taylor. I know this was disappointing. I could tell from the pictures you had formed a bond with the baby.
Miss Caples has a lot of beef with Mr. Harris and his girlfriend. Her mission today is proving to him that he's the biological father of 15-month-old Jason, and he's not getting out of court without signing the birth certificate and accepting responsibility for the little boy.
We were never in a relationship. Let's clarify that now. We were just
sleeping together.
That's pretty much it.
Were you in another relationship?
No. I was not, no.
I wasn't.
You find out you're pregnant. Obviously, you weren't using protection if there's a question that he's the biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right off the bat, Miss Caples makes it clear to the entire court that she was never in a romantic relationship with Mr. Harris. Things between them were strictly physical. Judge Lauren asks if she was in another relationship, and she completely denies that as well.
Why do you believe that Mr. Harris is denying your son?
Your Honor, I am here today because Mr. Harris is going to sign this birth certificate today right in front of his girlfriend. She has a lot to do with why he is denying my child. She is very immature.
When Miss Caples got pregnant, she texted Mr. Harris. But Mr. Harris says that right after he got her text, she disappeared from his life for months. After that, he got into a relationship with Miss Mayfield. Miss Caples thinks Miss Mayfield is the one making Mr. Harris behave so irrationally.
When she texted you and said, I'm pregnant, what did you think? That it could be yours?
It was a possibility.
Are you now with Miss Mayfield in a relationship?
Ma'am, that's when I had got with her in a relationship.
She was around 5 months.
She got jealous of what me and...
What is there to be jealous about? I don't care about you guys being together.
After these confessions, Miss Caples brings forth her exhibit to the court. It contains all the details related to her date of conception and the time she slept with Mr. Harris. It's revealed that these two were sleeping together for a total of 9 months.
And this is the window of conception where my son was born, and this is
when he was conceived.
Conceived, I'm sorry, and this is within the time frame that I was still intimate with Mr. Harris.
All right, Mr. Harris, do you agree you were intimate with Miss Caples in the month of April?
I'm not sure, you know.
Mr. Harris then reveals to the court that while he was being intimate with Miss Caples, he never actually knew her real name. And then he admits that a friend of Miss Caples confessed to him that the child is actually someone else's. So who is really telling the truth?
Her best friend, she told me that the kid is not mine. She did have sex with one guy. And,
After the fact.
No,
and
after
she said it was only one time, but that's all it takes.
Why would I bring it up, Your Honor, if it was after his time? I was already pregnant, and I didn't even know I was pregnant.
That's nasty.
Miss Mayfield keeps throwing in snide remarks, but Judge Lauren scolds her and tells her to behave like an adult. When Miss Caples went into labor, Mr. Harris didn't even show up. Will the DNA results solve this mess for them, or will it make it worse?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Harris, you are not the father.
Thank you.
Ms.
I
Caples.
would like to publicly apologize to Mr. Harris. I honestly thought that it was yours. We messed around. We were intimate a lot, and you know we were. It was a very big possibility that it was yours.
Mr. Reed's in for a ride, because not only has he got 4 wives, he's beginning to doubt the paternity of a child he had with Miss Marsh. According to him, Miss Marsh is trying to trap him into a relationship with her. Will today help him prove her wrong?
Where'd you meet?
We met in Columbus, Ohio, but I lived in California.
So you all started dating?
No. I flew back to California.
It was a long-distance relationship, Your Honor.
So at what point does this relationship turn into a sexual, physical relationship?
When I relocated to Columbus for work.
Why does Miss Marsh keep insisting that Mr. Reed's baby Tamari's father? Well, Miss Marsh tells the entire court that she's not interested in a relationship with Mr. Reed, and all she really wants is for him to step up and accept responsibility as father of the baby.
I love children, so I threw a birthday party for her oldest daughter, yes.
All right, so in your mind, was this a relationship? Or were you
She knew I was dating other women.
I never knew he was dating other women. On Torrance's birthday, he asked me to go on a trip with him to a resort with his family. When we get to Missouri, 2 women pop up at the hotel room, and he said, "This is my wife." And I said, "It's over."
Even Judge Lauren is shocked that Mr. Reed tried to make Miss Marsh meet his wife. What kind of man takes his girlfriend on a vacation only to introduce her to his partner? That sounds pretty crazy. Miss Marsh felt very betrayed and immediately decided to go back home.
I didn't know nothing about him wanting 4 wives.
Come on, Miss Marsh, cut it out.
So it's your testimony. You informed her of your desire.
Yes, it is. When my mother addressed to her, she's like, "Miss Marsh, you knew my son was wanted 4 wives."
I told his mother. No, Your Honor, I told his when his mom
No,
said
my
that,
mother's
when
a
his mom-
Baptist.
Between all of the chaos, Miss Marsh felt like she had been tricked. And now Mr. Reed is thinking she's tricking him into accepting paternity of baby Tamari. Miss Marsh's mother is also in the court, and she describes how betrayed they felt by Mr. Reed's behavior.
And Miss Marsh, your tears right now, what are you feeling? You just feel...
Because, I've been knowing him since I was 18, and this really hurt. This hurt. And then he want to go travel state to state to have different babies and find another wife, and he get these women involved, and they write me.
Eventually, Miss Marsh started discovering that Mr. Reed had more wives hidden. He insists that he had already told her about them, but Miss Marsh says that she was kept in the dark all this time. Judge Lauren then gives Mr. Reed a scolding about misleading a poor young girl like Miss Marsh.
So you done come and got this young girl. You sold her a whole bunch of dreams.
I didn't sell her nothing.
And I believe
said he's talking about what I'm doing, but she have numerous men. Yes, you do.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Come
you
on
do.
now. Come on now.
Man.
Don't do that,
Really?
baby. Don't
you
do
didn't
that.
have a man when I came to Columbus?
Your Honor, me and the guy, we had broke up 2 months prior to him coming down there. I broke up with him for Torrance.
When Miss Marsh got pregnant, Mr. Reed easily admitted that he thought he was the father. But then he started having doubts and thought Miss Marsh was sleeping with an ex. Miss Marsh proves to the court that it's not true, and Mr. Reed only wants to find a way to not pay for the bills.
So what is your doubt exactly? Because you have not testified to
Because every time she get angry with me, the first thing she do is say, "You're not the father."
Ms. Marsh, when you're angry with him, do you tell him this is not his baby?
Because he's always trying to do something.
But that's yes.
Question. Yes,
But that is yes. Women just don't seem to understand. That's a bell you can't unring.
At first, Mr. Reed left Miss Marsh heartbroken over all the wives he was keeping secret. Then he didn't support her throughout the pregnancy. Now, all she wants is to move on from this traumatic relationship and for Mr. Reed to accept Tamari as his daughter. What will the results say?
In the case of Marsh versus Reed, Mr. Reed, you are not the father.
Well, now I feel like the goofy. All the time I'm believing she knew this. I done flew all the way down here to look like a goofy.
Now, Mr. Reed, you were perfectly fine when she was one of many. Now you got a problem because you was one of many.
No, I don't have a
No.
It's a good lesson to know that revenge sex isn't going to help your cause. Ms. Wolf knew her ex was cheating on her, and when she told Mr. Cottle about it, he suggested they should get back at him. And now Ms. Wolf has a baby boy whose paternity is in doubt.
My ex-boyfriend, Lucas, he cheated on me with one of my friends. So I was talking to his friend, which was Andrew, and Andrew was like telling me that, we should get back at them. We should have revenge sex. We should, and we did. So while I was still dating Lucas at the time, I was sleeping with Drew also.
After all the revenge, Mr. Cottle and Ms. Wolf ended up in a relationship. Now they're engaged to get married. But Mr. Cottle refuses to do so until he's certain Zane's really his son. But he's already working multiple jobs to handle the finances, and the stress is just too much. But how did this mess start?
One of my friends texted me.
So then did you confront Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
What did she say?
She was pretty much denying it all.
So you didn't want to tell the truth, Ms. Wolf?
I did tell him that I did sleep with Andrew for the revenge sex, but I did not tell him that I was continuing to sleep with Andrew. No, I did not.
So when Ms. Wolf first found out about the pregnancy, it was Mr. Chittum she went. He then drove her to the hospital, but all the time he kept thinking that there's no way the baby's his. Mr. Chittum believes they had lots of unprotected sex, but it never got Ms. Wolf pregnant before.
So you continued to have sex with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Until when?
3 weeks before Zane was born.
Not true, because he is a pathological liar. He likes to lie about everything.
Is this why you agreed to submit to a polygraph test to prove that you are telling the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wolf calls Mr. Chittum a pathological liar, but the lie detector proves her wrong. Now the entire court knows that she's the one who's been lying. Then Mr. Chittum also reveals that Ms. Wolf isn't as innocent as she looks before. Once they broke up and she started dating Mr. Cottle, she still slept with Mr. Chittum.
And so you're saying you were intimate with Ms. Wolf at Mr. Cottle's house?
Yes, Your Honor.
How often?
I say at least about once a week.
And so these messages you have say what?
She would want me to come over and pretty much please her because she kept saying that her boyfriend could not do it.
Who knew that Ms. Wolf had so many tricks up her sleeve, as well as multiple men at her beck and call to always please her? Judge Lauren is extremely shocked, and Mr. Chittum submits his phone for evidence so everyone can see the messages for themselves.
So this message was from approximately 3 weeks ago. God, he got me so angry. And then the next line is, come blank me. He answers, why? And you answer, I just haven't had good blank in forever. I'm sorry.
Despite all the proof, Ms. Wolf has the audacity to say that Mr. Chittum's lying. She says he's only doing this to sabotage her relationship with Mr. Cottle, but all the evidence is in front of the court. So did Mr. Chittum go and have sex with Ms. Wolf knowing she was in a relationship?
So now you admit she asked you to have the sex, but you didn't go have the sex.
Yes, Your Honor, because I had a girlfriend that I was trying to stay loyal to.
So other times you were in Mr. Cottle's house having sex with Ms. Wolf.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just because I get upset at my boyfriend and I did message you does not mean that I had sex with you. Like, he just admitted.
As if anything makes those messages okay. Poor Mr. Cottle has to stand in court and feel embarrassed that this is what his fiancée had been up to. No wonder he doubts the paternity of baby Zane. Can the results help control all this chaos?
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Cottle. And so where do we go from here?
I'm gonna try and see where things are going between me and her, but it's not completely promised.
You are the father. Oh, Jesus. Oh, hold
I told you.
Okay, get up. This daughter here was on a long journey to find her long-lost father, but she had little to no help in this regard. Miss Cherry brought the defendant to court in the hopes of getting some answers. However, the guy here was certainly not going to make it easy for her.
Miss Cherry, you claim this is the only man you've ever been told is your dad. Mr. Johnson, you admit that you've never believed you are her father, but you say you understand why today's results are so important for both of you. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Johnson did seem sympathetic to the troubled life of the plaintiff, but he had solid reasons to believe he was not the father that Miss Cherry had been on the hunt for. The plot thickened, and we were here for it.
I do not believe that I am her father because of things that were told to me over the years. It was told to me that I was her father, and then there was a member of the family who came later on and told me that they found out that I was not the father.
Let's dive back into the events that took place way back in 1985. So, the defendant did indeed meet the defendant's mother. Yep, and he remembered her. So far, so good. The crack was how these guys met.
Jennifer's mother sent someone from the neighborhood with a note saying that she wanted to sleep with me and she was in love with me. At this time, I had a few beers, and I can't blame that on the alcohol. Needless to say, we ended up having that one encounter that one night.
You would think that this would be just one night of drunken fun and nothing more. Well, that was certainly not the case. Oh yes, Miss Cherry's mother lost something special that night, along with gaining something else.
Mr. Johnson, do you believe Miss Cherry's mother was a virgin? Is that what you were told? Was that your understanding?
At the time we slept together, I did believe that she wasn't a virgin because of the events that took place after the fact.
Did you use protection?
No, I did not.
The work was done. Now it was time for the consequences. Yep, these kinds of fun always have drastic consequences, especially when caution is thrown to the wind. According to Mr. Johnson, he did get to know about the pregnancy, but not through conventional manners.
People in the neighborhood just were coming up to me and telling me, "Congratulations on your daughter," and I was saying, "I'm having a son."
So then did you get wind of the fact that they were talking about Miss Cherry's mother?
Yes, because the person in the neighborhood told me that it was Dee Dee, in fact, that was pregnant with my child.
2 women got pregnant by the defendant. Moreover, the timeline was eerily overlapping. Now that has got to be confusing on all levels. Mr. Johnson had been a naughty boy, having fun with his girlfriend and Miss Cherry's mother on the side as well.
I went to the hospital to visit my son who had been born, and when I got to the hospital, someone had said, "Are you here to see your daughter?"
So again, you're getting this same feedback, like you have a daughter.
This case was getting interesting by the minute. Now, the defendant believed he wasn't the father. He did get chummy with Dee Dee, but according to him, it bore no consequences. And yet, the other party's family believed he was the father dearest.
Who told you you weren't the father at that time?
Someone in Jennifer's family that was threatening me to step up as her father for months. And all of a sudden, he came back to me and said to me, "We found out who the real father is. You are not the father, and I apologize."
Man, oh man, this was turning out to be a whirlpool of emotions and twists. Mr. Johnson adopted honesty as the best policy and claimed he didn't have enough money for a DNA test. And that led Miss Cherry to ask follow-up questions. She was not letting him off the hook that easy.
I feel like if you wanted to know, you could have found out at that moment, because previously to that, the courts was trying to do a DNA test and you never showed up.
Do you remember signing over your parental rights, Mr. Johnson?
I have never signed a birth certificate. I have never signed any documents pertaining to Jennifer other than child support.
Alleged baby daddy evaded being the father of Miss Cherry at every opportunity. He claimed to have closure, and yet his actions say otherwise. Who better to question the guy's resolve than our very own Judge Lake?
You were basically saying, I can't deal with this, so I'm just not gonna show up, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, what is the real truth?
The real truth is what you just said, probably, Your Honor. It probably really is the truth. I was young, dumb, and didn't step up for my responsibility.
Moving on, the plaintiff donned her Sherlock hat and went Googling on the internet. Through Ancestry.com, she came across some cousins who then led her to the defendant. Now that she had the name, all that was left was to contact him.
Hello, how are you doing? You've grown into a very lovely young lady. Although I did not think I was your father, seeing your picture now brings me to believe you very well may be. When you got that response, what were you thinking?
I started crying.
Even though Mr. Johnson believed he wasn't the one who fathered Miss Cherry, he signed up for child support. That was interesting and had a lot to unpack. Either this guy was in denial or truly had a good heart. Sadly, this did not affect the alleged daughter, though.
I knew there was a child out there in need and that probably needs someone someday to say that they care.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I don't believe he ever cared. Because I still was adopted. Both of my parents signed their rights over, both of them.
The text exchange these guys shared had another interesting message, and that message confused the heck out of Miss Cherry. This guy had been persistent about his claim, but his actions and now this text exchange contradicted everything.
Mr. Johnson says, I'm so sorry you had to grow up without a father, and I'm willing to do DNA for you, but I believe 99% you are. I've always waited for you to contact me.
That was actually after I seen the pictures.
And you've been waiting for her to contact you.
Miss Cherry has had a long, hard journey, and the people certainly didn't make it easier for her. The drama has gone on long enough now. Let's roll out the results and put Miss Cherry out of her misery.
Mr. Johnson, you are not the father. I'm so sorry. I was hoping to get closure for you today, Miss Cherry.
It's okay.
You are so deserving and worthy.
Marriage was at stake. Miss Carmen was desperate to prove to her husband that he fathered baby Ronasia. However, the defendant claimed otherwise and was pretty confident the results would be in his favor.
Miss Carmen, you open your case today in hopes of saving your 18-year marriage. You testify your husband denies he fathered your 4-year-old daughter, Ronasia.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Carmen, you say when the DNA results reveal that you are not Ronasia's father, your marriage is over.
While the wife was fighting for their marriage of 18 years, wow, that's a long time. The husband was having none of it. Nope, he seemed to love opening his testimony with metaphors like it wasn't a case proceeding, but your everyday literary class.
How can I put it? It's like, the ends of the bread getting hard. The ends around the bread getting crunchy.
Ain't no need for it to be crunchy.
It's drying up.
Ain't no need
You know
for
what
it
I'm
to be
saying?
crunchy.
And it's really that pretty face right there.
Which is
that pretty face
yes.
right there.
Yes, that's your face.
And I've been right there the whole time.
Once shining and booming love turned stale. The million-dollar question was what led them to this point? According to the plaintiff, these guys separated for a while. Wait till you hear what led them to separation.
Because I couldn't get the car, I kind of took it out on him. And so we were arguing back and forth, and we decided that he was gonna leave.
Because of a rent-a-car?
Yes, because of a rent-a-car, Your Honor.
So obviously there were some other things going on because you don't get separated because of a rent-a-car.
As it turned out, whether the wife enjoyed their time apart or not, the husband most definitely did. Oh yeah, he had a blast during that time when he turned an apartment into a party hub of fun. Wow.
He went and rented an apartment.
Yeah, I went and got my own.
Turned it into a boom boom room. I had to pay somebody $100 to go into the home to see what was going on, and it was party central.
And so a boom boom room is what, a party house?
It's a party house.
With women?
With women.
I guess 27 years of being together had the potential to do that to people. These guys took time off, but did not do that amicably. Nuh-uh. It seemed Mr. Carmen rented a boom room because his wife ended up doing something interesting with all his stuff.
Throw all my stuff out on the front yard a woman ago. I went and got my own place.
So you said she threw you out, or you went and got your own place?
I came home, she called me, talking about, I'm around the corner park talking to my partner. She called, you know what? Tasmanian devil. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait a minute, what you talking about? So I come back to the house, yard sale.
Oh.
What the?
Oh, this is fascinating. After the husband got a secret apartment, the wife wasn't gonna let him off the hook that easily, no matter the separation. Oh yeah, she took some help and went investigating what was going on around that place. And she was in for surprises.
His family member?
Yes, came and picked me up. and told me, she said, you must know what's going on over there. So we were staking out. We were actually staking out for a while before we came to the conclusion that I needed to send somebody up in there.
And so you would see the people coming in and out?
Yes.
So you decided I'm gonna pay somebody $100?
I did.
Man, these guys were toxic as heck. The concept of taking the high road was lost on them. They both were vengeful. When the husband found out about the wife's shenanigans, bam! He was back at the house. This whole scenario got swept under the rug. But then, a doctor's appointment revealed a surprise.
When did you start feeling doubtful?
Oh, well, can I approach the board?
Please, you brought an exhibit? I'd like to see what you brought.
All right, well, we're gonna start off right here. A year and a half ago, bam, this is what took place first. Thanks for being a stepdad.
Wait a minute, what is that? That's a phone.
Text messages.
According to Miss Carmen, that cheating fiasco was a one-time thing, and she was pretty confident about that. The mystery man, on the other hand, tried contacting her through Facebook, but he shut him down and stood her ground. But then she took an axe to her foot.
This mystery man and his family, after you reconciled with your wife?
Well, when she turned 4, then all the throwing stuff in my face, kept throwing the dude in my face, talking about, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna do that, and he gonna send me some money and all this type of stuff.
Once that ship sailed, there was no coming back from it. Nope. Baby mama was still adamant that Ronasia was his daughter. And when one is desperate enough, they take desperate measures. That was what she did when she started pinpointing the similar features they both shared.
Them ears are so small on both of them. All of the kids got them ears are so little.
They work though.
He can hear, yeah, they work. They work. You know why they work? Yeah, he right, because he can hear a gnat pee. He can hear a gnat pee, you're right.
It was time to see whether this marriage stood a chance or not. The results were surely going to determine that. Miss Carmen had a lot at stake, and that was evident in the emotion swirling on her face. Let's get right to it.
Mr. Carmen, you are the father. Oh, Jesus. Oh, hold on. I told you.
Okay, get up, come on, get up.
A wedding was due, the couple was excited about the wedding festivities, and then bam! The defendant canceled his wedding. Oh no! It looked like their destination changed from the church to the paternity court rather swiftly.
Miss Todd, you were suing your former fiance, Mr. Foster, to prove he fathered your 4-month-old daughter, Selena.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Foster, you say Miss Todd admitted that she cheated on you during the window of conception, so the baby's not yours.
Yes.
Time to shed light on the day this doubt train took off from the station. Miss Todd went out with her guy friend, which was nothing out of the ordinary. But she came back home the next morning, and so the suspicions began.
She says, I want to go hang out with a friend of mine, and it's a guy.
Yes.
But you say I'm not insecure, so okay. And then what happened?
The next day, Miss Todd came back.
She came home the next day?
Yes.
Okay.
I normally don't go through her phone at all, but her phone just kept on buzzing, and it was a text message.
Well, kudos to the plaintiff for coming clean about her extracurricular activities. And by the looks of it, it wasn't a one-time thing with her. Her honesty didn't do her any favors as the ex-fiancé found out something new. Yikes!
So you had sex with this gentleman again, not just this night, another night as well?
Yes, he came and got me from the house and we went back to his place. It happened again, but we used protection, that's why
You're engaged to Mr. Foster?
No, not at the time he wasn't.
At the time, you just dating?
Yeah, we was boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. He didn't propose to me.
Dear Lord! Baby mama played the poor guy like a fiddle. She testified she wasn't engaged to Mr. Foster, but interestingly, if we were to believe Mr. Foster, these guys were surely engaged. Man, these testimonies sure gave the judge a headache.
Were you or were you not, Miss Todd, engaged when you had your friend come pick you up?
Her birthday is in the summertime, and if I'm not mistaken, it was cold out when the guy came and come to come and get her.
Outside when he came, it was warm.
Ron, I ain't never heard this before. They don't know whether or not they were engaged.
This was a chaotic mess from the beginning. Miss Todd did seem like a compulsive liar. Heck, she was gutsy enough to lie in court as well. She was sure that Mr. Foster was her baby daddy. However, Mr. Foster's mother has something interesting to reveal.
I received a phone call from my son stating that Mrs. Todd didn't have a place to stay. Once I made it back home, I sat her down at the table and I asked her, was it a chance that my son was the father? She said that this other guy was the father.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I said it was a possibility that Mr. Foster or the other guy could be the father.
Liar, liar, pants on fire! And Miss Todd's pants were definitely on fire. Miss Foster wasn't finished with her testimony, and the baby mama was already not coming out decent, let alone a good guy out of it. Yeesh!
Family members of hers were calling me, let me know that this guy was the father. He didn't want to be involved.
So what you felt like your son was just the next best case scenario?
Exactly.
Continue.
I had told my son, I said, if you're going to be with her, you might as well marry her and get over the fact that the child may not be yours.
The plaintiff was here contesting the claim he wasn't the father, and yet he ended up signing the good old birth certificate. Granted, he did that out of the goodness of his heart, but whether or not he was the biological father, he was the legal one.
Well, you signed a birth certificate, now you might as well marry her.
Yes, because he was advised not to do it.
Oh, you told him don't do that?
Me and a friend of mine, which is an attorney.
You had access to legal counsel and still went on and signed a birth certificate for a child?
Yes, I did.
That you thought was not yours?
Yes, I did.
Mr. Foster wasn't getting off the hook that easily now. The only thing left to do was to tear the envelope open and get to the results. His actions were admirable, though, and I was rooting for him. Here we go.
Mr. Foster, you are her father.
Oh,
I told you so. I told you was her father. I told him he was not there. I told you. She looked just like you. She looked just like you.
I've been there a lot. I've been there from 18, when you're 18 years old, 19 years, Nikki. No, then you have a rope over your head.
All right, ladies, I'm trying to understand you, but I cannot understand you when you're yelling so loud. Mr. Avant, you are not Jamethia's father.
Miss Moore brought her mother to court after she failed to provide her with any possible name of who her father could be. That's gotta be frustrating, right? The defendant, however, claimed she had no clue who could be the father, and the mystery continued.
I have told her that I had 3 others tested and we had a swab test done. And Greg Wright was the last ditch effort because I was saving her because I did not want her.
So it's not the last hope, but it is the last ditch effort.
That's the last one. That's the last one that I have. That's the last one at all that I have for her.
You never did give me the name.
Whoa! Things escalated pretty fast. Miss Nelson didn't hold back at all. It was clear as day she was more focused on this possibility being her last hope rather than the daughter. We're about to witness the crazy side of this mother-daughter duo. Better buckle up.
So it's not the last hope, but it is the last ditch effort.
That's the last one. That's the last one that I have. That's the last one at all that I have for her.
You never did give me the name.
I gave you the name.
No, you
18,
did not.
19 years old, I gave you it.
No, you did not.
I have.
You only gave me Greg Wright's name.
No, that was the last one that I gave.
The plaintiff shed light on her disastrous life growing up. However, her narrative ended up making the mama mad. The environment soon turned aggressive as these guys fired shot after shot.
I would have to take my mom's responsibility and help raise the kid.
No, that's not right.
Yes, that is right.
No, it's
yes,
not.
I did.
Who
took him on walk?
Who the one that wanted to take him on walks?
No,
and I only asked you out of kindness.
No.
Yes.
No, because if I had plans with my friends.
Ladies, I need you to talk one at a time.
According to the defendant, life without a father wasn't that big of a deal. Yup, you heard that right. Her justification for this was that she too grew up without a father. But we can all see how she turned out.
I vaguely, at 8 years old, knew my mom, just vaguely. And I don't know who my father is. Yes, it has been hard, but I learned to deal with it.
So you're acknowledging that it was very difficult for you not having your father, so you can understand how your daughter would feel.
I do
as
understand,
well.
But she thinks that I kept it from her. I didn't keep it from her.
Time for Miss Nelson to reveal what circumstances led her to get pregnant with Miss Moore. It got crazy, no shock there. But I think by now we're used to that, right? Didn't I tell you guys it was gonna be a rough ride?
Since I had a bad childhood, I tend to forget things, and plus I was 17, but I knew the name. I knew exactly where he lived. I knew when I was 5 months pregnant because after I done split with him, he said he was going to be in jail. So why would I want to go back and contact him anyways because he's in jail?
If you didn't believe me then, you better believe me now. This mother-daughter duo had their hands full with each other. Neither was ready to back down in front of the other. Watch for yourselves.
She needs to know.
Well, she
and
doesn't
she
need to tell
deserves
me
to know.
that I didn't. I was keeping it from her. If I knew from a shadow of doubt that he was dead set, the father, I would have told him. I would have wrote him to jail.
Why was you afraid that I was going to get hurt?
Well, what if he wasn't the father, or because he's not giving you the money?
So, Ms. Moore, all about the money.
Miss Moore's mommy gave her only a name as a key piece of information. And with that information, she and her husband went looking for this man. Sherlock and Mr. Watson, everybody.
We met up that same day after I called him. He followed me to my my place. We talked.
You were
we
out
figured
with
it
friends
out.
when you found out.
He even thought it was, it sounded right.
And he's the man that's here in court today.
Yes.
Let's
And
hear
why
from
does
him.
they need
Jerome, can
why
you
does he need a
please
piece of paper to saying who
escort
is the father?
The last possible baby daddy was brought into the court. Now, according to him, he was initially shocked to find out he could potentially have a daughter. Understandably so. However, Miss Nelson couldn't let him get another word out.
I would do anything to help her, give her whatever she needs if I can afford to do it.
Not happening with that.
Yeah, he's helped me more than you've helped me.
No, because last time you
what is
told
your
me
issue with
that
this?
you asked him for money and he couldn't give it to you because his girlfriend or fiance, whatever, would not because she did not like you.
No.
It seemed Miss Nelson was one paranoid woman. She truly believed everyone was out to get her, which was a possibility, as she had to justify her questionable actions in her wild teenage years. Anyway, the mystery of the biological father had continued long enough for Miss Moore. The only thing that could get her some answers was the contents of that envelope. Let's open it up.
Ms. Moore, Mr. Wright is not your biological father.
In this riveting episode where the wicked parent is unveiled, Mr. Avant's determination for truth takes center stage, and as secrets unravel, the audience is left on the edge of their seats, waiting for the revelation that could reshape destinies. Can the shattered pieces of this family be put back together, or will they forever remain fragmented?
Mr. Avant, you petitioned the court for a DNA test to determine if you are the father of your ex-fiancee, Miss Hatton's 13-month-old daughter, Jamethia. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And your biggest fear is that today you will walk out of this court without a daughter.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Tensions rise in court as Judge Lake delves into the intricate timeline. Doubts hang in the air as Miss Hatton's certainty meets Mr. Avant's specific recollection. The courtroom grapples with crucial dates, payments, and intimate moments that could redefine the narrative.
I had sex with Miss Hatton on the 11th of October. I know for a fact.
All right, so she remembers the 13th.
I got paid from work the exact same day.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
I mean, I can add my dates up because at the same time, me and her went out. I ordered food for us when she came over that day. She spent the majority of the day with me on the 11th and went home that night.
The courtroom crackles with emotion as Miss Hatton's explanation regarding a suspicious picture on social media leads to a heated exchange. The tension escalates as the plaintiff raises questions of insecurity and paternity. The air is thick with unresolved feelings and assertions.
I didn't let anybody post
She
the picture.
did, Your Honor. And
When
as
they
a matter of
posted
fact,
the picture, me and
that's
Mr.
not true.
Avant were sitting at home on the sofa. He was like, "Babe, what you looking at?" I said, "I'm looking at this." I said, "Look at this. Look what he posted on Instagram."
And I
like,
spazzed,
really?
Your Honor.
Why are you letting him do that? Why are you letting him do that? I
'Cause
told
what-
him to take it down.
what
What
is
he
the
said
purpose?
is Jamal shouldn't be so insecure when he knows it's his baby.
The tension peaks as the confused baby daddy confronts Miss Hatton about taking their daughter to see another potential father behind his back. He passionately asserts that she should have done so when he was home.
So you believe she was sneaking around once you were on the road, taking Jamethia to see another potential father?
Correct.
You say that's not true. You say they came over to your house to see the baby.
Yeah, they came over my house. He said, "Okay, so when are we gonna get this DNA test done?" Since Mr. Avant contacted him, they spent hours on the phone. Him and Jamethia look just alike.
In a heart-wrenching moment, the court receives the DNA test results, causing strong emotions to ripple through the room. Mr. Revant's hopes and fears hang in the balance as Judge Lake prepares to deliver the verdict, and Miss Hatton's conviction about the paternity of Jamethia adds to the suspense.
Mr. Avant, you are not Jamethia's father. I'm very sorry, Mr. Avant.
Nah, man, it's not all right. I've been there.
It's all right.
Hurt.
It's all right. I'm sorry. I don't want to see you cry.
In a gripping twist, Miss Bruton asserts that Mr. Martin isn't her son's father, setting the stage for a DNA revelation that could reshape her family. As emotions run high, watch as secrets unravel and the truth takes center stage.
Ms. Bruton, you claim to be 100% positive that Mr. Martin is not your son's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say today's DNA test will allow you to get rid of Mr. Martin and to finally reconcile your relationship with Mr. Richardson. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Martin's candid admission from his intentions to father a child without being in a relationship electrifies the courtroom. As tensions rise and the audience gasps, a crucial question remains. Can a young man's decision to purposefully conceive a child change the course of a young family's fate?
You were trying to get somebody pregnant that you didn't want to be in a relationship with?
Yeah, but I didn't want to be in a relationship with her.
But you were trying to get her pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you just gonna go out and just make a baby with anybody?
No, not with anybody, but
That's
I
what
gotta
you're
get
saying?
I gotta get to know you though.
Okay, but you're not even in a relationship with her.
No.
Nor do you want to be in a relationship.
No.
After this, the spotlight shifts to the support systems amidst this turbulent pregnancy. As Miss Bruton reveals Mr. Richardson's involvement, a twist emerges when it's disclosed that Mr. Martin attempted to be there, albeit unsuccessfully.
But when you told him he was a potential father,
yes.
Wait, Mr. Martin, did you try to be there? Were you trying to go to
Yeah, he
Dr.
tried, but I've tried to. I wasn't hearing it. I wasn't seeing it.
At first she did. I was trying to do that, but then after them 2 weeks, she just disappeared. It was like nothing else.
Miss Bruton boldly asserts the true paternity of her son, standing her ground against Mr. Martin's claims. As the tension escalates, the courtroom becomes a battleground of perspectives, with the birth certificate and visual resemblances taking center stage.
Logan look anything like
lip.
Mr. Martin?
Look at that lip.
He got my
That
lip.
bottom lip. That
He got
bottom-
my
look at that
lip.
bottom
Those
lip.
are my
Look at that
lip.
bottom lip.
That's me right there.
Ms. Bruton,
That's my son right there.
You know, I completely understand how you want to stand in court today and just say, I am positive that this is Mr. Richardson's child, because you've made it clear that you don't want to be with Mr. Martin.
As tensions soar, the courtroom brims with animosity and uncertainty. Amid the verbal sparring, a pivotal question emerges. Is the annoyance driven by doubts over paternity or fear of a potential relationship fallout? The audience is left on the edge of their seats, eager for the DNA test results that will lay bare the truth.
Are you annoyed by him because he thinks he's the father, or are you annoyed by him because you think he's trying to break up you and Mr. Richardson?
Both. I'm annoyed by him because he thinks he's the father. I'm annoyed by him because he's trying to break up what me and Anthony got.
I know that's my son.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right.
Ain't no way.
All right, I think it's time for the results.
In an electrifying courtroom moment, the tension is palpable, the audience eager for the revelation. As the results are unveiled, emotions surge through the room. Applause, gasps, and exclamations. The truth emerges, and disbelief mixes with determination, leaving everyone captivated by the dramatic turn of events.
Mr. Richardson, you are not the father.
What?
Mr. Martin.
I told you.
What?
I told you.
You are the father.
I told you. I knew what it was.
No, that is not possible.
I
That
know
is not possible. That is not possible.
Mr. Martin, you are the father.
No.
Get ready for a roller coaster of emotions as Mr. Baker's tale unfolds. Love, shattered dreams, and a mystery involving his best friend entwined in this drama. The revelation of potential fatherhood adds to the suspense. Meanwhile, Miss Wood's surprising life as a self-proclaimed cougar adds an intriguing layer.
Ms. Woods, you are a self-proclaimed cougar, and you say you never imagined you would be giving birth to your 12th child at the age of 43. You admit you did indeed have sex with Mr. Baker's best friend, and so now you're not sure which man fathered your 2-year-old daughter.
Hold on to your seats as the truth comes out in unexpected ways. The court takes a wild turn when Mr. Baker's best friend becomes part of the story. With a confession of alcohol-fueled mistakes and the allure of partying, the plot thickens. The startling revelation of Miss Wood's intentions adds intrigue to the narrative.
I was like a cougar looking for a tiger, okay? I started off, I went out, me and my friends, they came pick me up. We went over to a club, out in Atlanta, a nice nightclub, whatever.
For the party.
Yes, and well, he kept buying me drinks all night. You already know what happened from there, Yana. I don't have to go no farther.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be a one-night stand.
The intrigue deepens as the timeline reveals a tantalizing possibility involving Mr. Baker's best friend. Miss Wood's partying past comes into play, raising questions about who else might be involved.
She in the club dancing with dudes and leaving with dudes. I don't know what's going on.
So you're suggesting that it may be even more people involved than Mr. Dudley?
Yana, this man met me like that. I was a party animal before this man got with me. You understand? He know how I was before. Don't come up in the courtroom acting like this something new. This ain't nothing brand new, Yana.
Behold, as Mr. Dudley, the ex-best friend, enters the courtroom. Miss Wood's admission of intimacy with both men, just one day apart, adds a layer of drama that unfolds with a surprise punchline. Amidst the laughter and tension, the truth awaits to be unveiled.
She doesn't truly know who Trinity's father is. What do you have to add to this?
Yana, he ain't got nothing to add to it. You know why? Because he on the last 1 minute, so.
Let him speak.
It's about the baby. Trip. But ask.
But 1 minute can cost you 18 years.
In a twist of motives, the truth unfolds. Mr. Dudley's intention to expose Miss Woods takes a surprising turn, highlighting his complicated relationship with his best friend. But as the story reveals itself, the focus shifts to the child's well-being and the importance of clarity in parentage. Amidst tangled emotions, a lesson emerges about the consequences of crossing boundaries.
You got it in your mind, well, I'll just go ahead and sleep with her, and then he'll know that.
But I was gonna tell him, you know what I'm saying?
When?
I was gonna tell him. If the news just got out there before I could really go and tell him, you know what I'm saying? His cousin ran out for a mouth and go to popping and, you know what I'm saying? And telling everything before I really could get to him. And he was so into this chick, I was like, man, I'm gonna let him have that.
Amid the swirling uncertainties, Mr. Dudley acknowledges the possibility of being Trinity's father, though his tone resonates with a sense of responsibility. The tension escalates as he hints at his determination to be a father if the results confirm it. Yet, his emotions make it clear that there's more at stake here than just paternity.
Mr. Dudley, do you feel that there's a great possibility that you are Trinity's father?
No. It's a possibility, you know what I'm saying? Because we did have unprotected sex, you know what I'm saying? So it's a possibility, but
if you are?
Oh, it's good. I'm gonna take the baby and get rid of her.
Look at that picture real good,
that's
son.
Right.
That baby, I don't think so.
The courtroom pulses with anticipation as Judge Lake, with a mix of seriousness and suspense, reveals the DNA results concerning 2-year-old Trinity Woods. The emotional roller coaster reaches its peak when the verdict is finally announced, leaving a mix of relief and raw emotions in its wake.
Mr. Baker, you are not her father. Jerome.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. The train fell in the dumpster. That's what I'm talking about.
Mr. Baker, calm down.
When I told him I was pregnant, Dwayne actually didn't have no doubt when I finally told him I was pregnant. He was happy. And I said then, this is not going to work. You have a baby by my cousin.
Your Honor, what husband is going to get upset because a 17-year-old boy is sneaking? Like, are you serious? He's a neighbor.
A gripping paternity court case unfolds as Miss Johnson claims Mr. Milford, with a child from her cousin, is her son's biological father. Alleging negligence, she seeks confirmation. Mr. Milford, citing radiation effects on fertility, disputes.
He never came to the hospital when my son was born. Anything I needed for my son, Mr. Milford never provided anything. Mr. Milford only came by to see me. He didn't come see my son.
26 years old?
26 years old. I have 2 sons by Mr. Milford.
Your Honor, she never told me she was pregnant.
I did.
She always told me she had a tumor.
I'm sleeping with you. How would you think it's a tumor?
She told me she had a tumor.
In a jaw-dropping twist, Miss Williams recounts how her pregnancy journey took unexpected turns. Still involved with her ex, they both believe he was the father. She didn't even include Mr. Adams until later, assuming her ex was the parent. But everything changed when she discovered her ex wasn't the father at all.
I slept with other people. I did.
I said, well, just tell us that man must be the baby daddy.
And nobody ever, because that conversation never happened. That never happened.
I went on about my business.
He come to my house and asked me, could he see his son?
When you saw him, did you say, oh, wow, that could be my son?
No.
Amidst the drama, Mr. Milford alleges 3 failed DNA testing attempts, citing his late mother's advice. Further, the defendant fiercely denied any knowledge, focusing on her children in a separate relationship. The courtroom is on edge, with conflicting accounts raising suspense about the shocking truth.
You telling me you can't have kids? Why are you trying to do DNA tests if you know for a fact
because you shouldn't be telling children them lies like that?
Why?
Look, Your Honor.
Why not? I was still sleeping with you.
Every time I
That's
look,
the point.
I used to cut them on.
Yeah, you cut them on. You never gave me any money to do anything.
I mean, that's all
and
I
was
could do.
still sleeping with you then, so
I
what
would
are you
do that
saying?
for anybody that had children.
The tension escalates as an unexpected witness, Miss Shavella Jones, takes the stand. She's Miss Johnson's first cousin, and her shocking revelation leaves everyone stunned. Miss Jones bluntly states she doesn't believe Mr. Milford is Kiaris's father, citing Miss Johnson's history. The courtroom is in shock, and the truth hangs on a precipice.
I had a baby by him first. I dated him all the way through school. I don't understand how they even went there.
Because Miss Johnson is...
My first cousin.
Is your first cousin?
Correct.
Do you believe he's Kiaris's father?
Well, no.
Amidst escalating tension, Judge Lake intervenes, urging resolution. The drama unfolds as conflicting stories clash. The mystery of repeated DNA tests and communication breakdowns perplexes me. Lebabara Jones, Mr. Milford's daughter, testifies emotionally, hinting at a fractured family. A twist that hints at the case's complexity.
I know he's my cousin and I love him. I probably was 10 or 11, maybe like around that age. You know, we all played together. We had a really close bond at that time as cousins. I think I told my mom I didn't like that having to call him brother kept being like forced upon me.
Amidst high stakes, Johnson v. Milford reaches a pivotal juncture. Kiaris Johnson's future teeters on the edge as the courtroom awaits a verdict that could redefine his identity. Emotions surge as truth hovers just out of reach. The climactic moment of connection beckons, an opportunity for reconciliation and clarity.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Milford, you are not his father.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Kiaris. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, sir.
Oh.
In a gripping courtroom battle, Mr. Hudson drops a bombshell, accusing the defendant of paternity deception. A high-stakes showdown unfolds, tension rising as accusations fly. Miss Bridges holds her ground, and Judge Lake digs deeper. Anticipation soars as truth hangs in the balance.
I was led to believe that I was Ja'Cory's father because at the time that we were living together is the time that she became pregnant with the child. We were together for approximately about 5 years, Your Honor.
So you were there throughout the pregnancy,
Yes,
and you were
ma'am.
taking care of her. You all lived together.
Yes, ma'am.
You had a relationship.
Yes, Your
So
Honor.
you thought this baby was yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hudson confronts Miss Bridges about their communication struggles regarding their child. Tensions escalate, with both sides presenting their perspectives. Judge Lake dives into the heart of the matter, probing the reasons behind Mr. Hudson's hesitation.
I still love him and I still take care of him. Even after the time that I was told that he wasn't mine, is when I still threw his birthday party. I still bought him Christmas gifts, still bought him birthday gifts.
And that's what a father's supposed to do.
Even the months that he was born are not even adding up. She said that she got pregnant in the month of March.
Mr. Hudson stands firm in his claim that he was deceived by Miss Bridges, leading to doubts about the child's paternity. Judge Lake delves into the heart of the matter, seeking to unravel the truth behind their tangled relationship. As the intensity builds, Mr. Davis, a new character, steps into the spotlight, ready to share his perspective on the situation.
You know, we hung out for a couple of months. We ended up having unprotected sex around about 3 times. I didn't know that she was pregnant at all until I looked on Facebook one day, like a year later, and I see a picture of her son. And immediately I think her son looks like my nephew.
The courtroom crackles with tension as Judge Lake confronts Miss Bridges about her conflicting statements regarding Ja'Cory's potential fathers. With a revealing twist, Mr. Davis steps forward, armed with Facebook messages that paint a surprising picture.
You came right back to me, and when I asked you why you asked a second time, you're like, I think you might be his father.
Yes, you
like,
might be.
I have proof of that right here.
I slept with both of y'all at the same time.
Those are Facebook messages between her and I. The blue is me, the white is her. She came to me. I didn't come to her
Will you
like,
do
oh,
a
well, I
DNA
think your
for me?
son
And you
is mine.
said, yes, I will.
Yes.
The atmosphere in the courtroom is charged with uncertainty as Miss Dollaragis leans towards Mr. Davis being the father, citing intriguing physical resemblances. As Judge Lake delves deeper, the emotional stakes are raised. Has Mr. Hudson truly stepped up for Jacory?
In the case of Hudson versus Bridges, Mr. Hudson are not his father. In the case of Hudson versus Bridges, Mr. Davis are not his father.
Wild accusations are on the high run as Miss Poyer demands accountability from her son, while Mr. Poyer seeks independence, ready to embrace fatherhood. Their clash of perspectives reveals a complex mother-son relationship, setting the stage for a gripping confrontation about responsibilities, respect, and personal growth.
My son, he's lazy. I feel that he's lazy. I'm your mother. I try to do the best that I can for you. Not want to do anything, not want to help me.
I'm the lazy one, but you don't want to do anything. You want me to cook all the meals. You want me to clean the house.
In a poignant exchange, Miss Poyer shares her desire to break a cycle of mistakes and lead her son toward a responsible life. Her fears reflect the broader court mission of nurturing better fathers and men. Her concerns about her son's behavior and lack of respect resonate, highlighting the tension between expectations and reality.
I got high. I ran the street. But there comes a point in your life is enough.
What is he doing wrong?
I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 5 o'clock, be in the house at 10 o'clock. No, you want to come in here ringing my doorbell 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. That's disrespectful.
The tension in the courtroom thickens as financial disputes come to light. Miss Poyer details the accrued expenses, breaking down the meticulous calculation of unpaid rent and utilities. Mr. Poyer, however, contests the agreement and defends his contribution. The clash over financial responsibilities exposes differing perspectives on promises made and expectations set.
Well, my rent, $1,200. The cable bill is like $159. So within a year, the rent is like $7,000. So that adds up to $8,357.28.
I never agreed to pay half of anything.
Natasha's concerns about her son's drug use and job prospects reveal a larger issue of responsibility and potential consequences. Ryan argues that not all jobs require drug tests, sparking a humorous exchange with the judge. The spotlight shifts to Ryan's girlfriend, seen by his family as a potential source of influence. The tension heightens as Jerome is called to escort her into the courtroom.
Smoking marijuana, that doesn't go out of your system right away. So how are you going to get a job if your system is dirty?
Every job in the world doesn't require a drug test, Your Honor.
So you're looking for those?
I've had numerous ones of them.
And then who's going to hire him? Because once they do a background check, you only work in 2 weeks.
As the court examines Ryan's employment, Natasha skeptically demands proof of jobs. The judge seeks pay stubs and W-2 forms, prompting amusing exchanges. Margaret explains their marketing research work, emphasizing shared responsibilities. The focus shifts to financial matters, including their bank accounts.
Show me a pay stub.
I have many of pay stubs.
Where's your W-2?
I got my W-2 and I
don't even need to be up here. She just turned into the
So yes, we work in marketing research in the borough that we live in, and we pay rent together.
Amid apologies and emotional realizations, Mr. Poyer expresses pride in his growth and regrets his mom's absence. He acknowledges his love for her, seeks understanding, and ultimately apologizes. The judge highlights the importance of his maturation and his mother's desire for him to become a responsible man.
What I understand from you, Miss Poyer, is that you were doing the best you could by him. And Mr. Poyer, she wants you to be a man, and I think right now she's seeing today that you are becoming that man. You gotta give her credit and say, this is what my mom was telling me I could do. Give her that credit.
Another 2-month fling happened, but this time it resulted in a marriage. I could say good for them, but since they were here, that's out of the window. The said marriage was heading south fast as the defendant denied paternity.
Mr. Roberts, you say that your uncertainty concerning Ms. Wyatt's daughter stems from the fact that her ex is still in her life. You claim that every time she kicks you out of the house, she calls for him to help, and you wonder what's going on between them. You both agree the marriage is heading south fast.
Miss Wyatt had the stage, and she stated her case. Nothing new here, same old case of a guy being jealous and insecure, hence the paternity doubt. However, Mr. Rogers had compelling testimony to back up his doubts regarding paternity.
A young guy flirts with
He
them.
was speaking.
Knowing kids these days, you feel me?
Your Honor.
They don't respect marriage. They don't respect the elder.
But what husband is going to get upset because a 17-year-old boy is speaking? Like, are you serious? He's a neighbor.
The husband, or should I say soon to be the ex-husband, was itching to air out the dirty laundry of his wife in front of the court. As it turned out, baby mama had more than one guy at her disposal.
I've never ever just called the ex over just to call the ex over. Like, if we get into an argument and he either leaves or I make him go home to his mom, which he loves to do because he always runs back to them telling them stuff about me. Matter of fact, his mom and his sisters, they all watch him cheat on me.
Who knew a tire change could bring all this trouble? Baby daddy needed to step up his tire changing game because mommy had no trouble calling for help from other sources.
It was two exes because the one that could fix the tire didn't have transportation. The one that had the transportation brought him. So, and they both have my back. You know, anything that I need, they don't disrespect him in no way. If he's not trying to do it, I'm gonna make it happen. But Ms. Wyatt.
One needs proof to back up their claim, and the defendant had quite a few stories to share. He already had a hard time catching a break with all the exes. And then his best friend came smack dab in the middle as well.
He had online profiles. He was talking to women. I've had women contact me saying, are you married to him? Because that's my boyfriend. I'm like, we're married. How is that your boyfriend? I don't know any other way. Honestly, I don't know any other way to let him know how I feel.
Uh-oh, by the looks of it, Miss Wyatt had a lot of stuff hidden. That's what happens when you get married after just 2 months of knowing each other. Now, it was all falling apart.
Like I said, our marriage is on the verge of divorce. Yeah, I got into a marriage just after 2 months of us, but at the same time, it's going on 3 years, and he's not stepping up to the plate, and I'm getting tired of it. Like, I'm just getting tired. So, yeah, I made the profiles because at some point, I'm gonna move on if he don't tighten up.
Presumably, the wife had enough of her husband's antics. She claimed the kids had an okay relationship with their father. Seems about right. But the problem she had with him lay elsewhere. And it was time to go into that detail.
I'm a musician, so I try to do little gigs, churches, everywhere.
If he really want a job, he'll go out there and work with McDonald's if he have to.
Pays
If
me
he gotta
not
flip
a lot,
burgers
but
to
it's
pay the
something.
rent, then he'll flip them burgers.
And whatever I can, I would do it.
Next up, we again get clashing narratives from the couple. It was obvious these guys weren't on the same page. And who took the brunt of it? The children, of course.
Okay, listen, when she sends me home, it's not like a normal fight. It's like when we fight, it's a big fight. So it's not a fight. I'm gonna call you the next day and say, hey, how you doing?
Your Honor, he has other kids, and he doesn't do that with them. It's not a fight with them.
It's not a big fight with them like that.
All these people had a big mouth on them, and the only way to shut them up was to present the DNA results, so they could get their answer. Let's just get this one over with.
In the case of Wyatt versus Robert, Mr. Robert, you are her father.
Exactly.
Are you happy?
Exactly.
Are you ready to get in the game? I think it's obvious Miss Wyatt loves you. She wouldn't have traveled and followed you across the country if she didn't, or got your back.